Hey guys, well, it's the morning after the morning after. It's Monday and we're heading into the Cape Town test week, and still the bleating hasn't died down after the All Black test against the Springboks. Of course, the South Africa came back from 27-17 down to win 31-27, and a lot has been said about the game, a lot on the social media, a lot on the airwaves, a lot of people accusing people of all sorts of things. And I thought, let's bring some sanity to the discussion, guys. Let's be a bit real about this, and let's go through this. So, the first thing I need to say, Bongi'S try, and I know all the New Zealanders are jumping on this, and there's all sorts of things. My personal opinion, wasn't a try.
But he had a few All Black jerseys that were watching him Hawkeyes, and they didn't still manage.
I didn't see it live. You obviously obstructed in the stadium. You see the big screen, and you don't obviously pick up the minute differences in there. I know some of the crowd did see it, and there was obviously a part of the crowd that stopped cheering. But I didn't think it was a try. I thought he did knock it on over the line, and so I don't think it should have been awarded. So that's my first thing. Would it have made a difference to the scoreline? I'm not quite sure it would have. I think just the way the scoreline went, the All Blacks went up after that, so there was still a long time in the game. But these aren't things that should be happening in the game. But let's go a bit more, because my friends at Sens in New Zealand sent me this clip of former All Black Steve Devine, and this was his take on the whole matter, and rather interesting to listen to.
Yeah, you played in an era where the officialdom wasn't probably as advanced, and I'm saying advanced in terms of technology. They didn't get as much help as they get these days. And I scratch my head when I see tries given which are clearly not fair tries, and at this level of rugby, with the amount of help they get now, I just think they've got to do better than that. I think their process, I don't know how that process unfolded, because quite clearly, whether he didn't have the access, that TMO did not have the access to that replay, or whether he was watching something different, my understanding is they watch what we watch.
Well, mate, there's one shot before that try. They shoot to the stands, and you can see the fans celebrating. And then it clearly goes up on the big screen that he knocked the ball on, and you can see the fans' reaction of, that's not a try. And yet it gets let to be played. Like everyone in the stadium knew that he dropped it on. Everyone at home knew that he knocked the ball on over the line. How can you have a match official who doesn't? We go back to the Rugby World Cup final, and the try was disallowed for something that happened 2 minutes prior to the try, and now we have a situation where something happened 1 second prior to the try, and they can't pick it up. They can pick up the other one, but they can't pick up the one that happened right in front, that everyone knew at home it wasn't a try, everyone knew in the grandstand it wasn't a try, and yet we have these incompetent morons ruining a game of rugby. It's unacceptable. I'd much prefer to lose a game of rugby on a referee's call when he had no help. I can live with that, because we all make mistakes, and we're all going to make mistakes, right? Anyone can live with that. But when you go to these match officials that rule with an iron fist, and they make a mistake of this level, it is totally unacceptable, and there's got to be repercussions for it, because a game of rugby should be dealt with out on the rugby field. It should be dealt between the two players, and at the moment it's being dealt with match officials, and their incompetence is ruining matches, and it's not good enough. It just really isn't good enough, and someone's got to be held to account. And saying nothing and protecting them is not good enough. You don't get better, and unless you're called out on mistakes made, and something's got to be done, because it's ruining a game. It's two great matches of rugby that have been ruined because of the result may have been the same, the result may have been different, but we shouldn't be talking about it. We should have been talking about a great test match, but here we are.
Of course, a lot has happened. Scott Robertson's asked for World Rugby for an explanation, as is his right. He went afterwards and said he's not going to have coffee with the ref. He's going to wait for World Rugby to do it through the channels. So this is what Scott Robertson said after the time.
Double ups. We'll ask the question if they haven't given the answer or covered that point. This is normally how we do it. So they'll review, and I'm sure they'll come back and feel like that process could have been better. No, I haven't had a chance to have a beer or a coffee with Mr. Brace or anything around it, and it's a sign of respect and a little bit of etiquette around it. There'll be some emails sent and it'll go through Joel Jute, and that's our normal process.
Now, in both of those clips, I think the first thing to say is it's easy for ex-players to rattle off. I think the first thing you want to do if you want to talk about TMOs, South Africa has been on the wrong side of TMO decisions more than once. Just this season, let's have a look at it. Just this season, we had Kobus Reinach dropped on his head in the Wallaby game, and nothing was done about it. We had Sia Khaleesi, who was hit by Sam Cane in this test as well, which was deemed only a penalty, which could easily have been a card. And I'm going to do a short video on that one as well, so keep an eye out for it as well. And yes, the other incident was in the Island game where had Malcolm Marx croc rolled, and there was only a yellow card and he had an injury from that. So, there have been a number of TMO decisions against the Springboks this season alone, which we could all complain about, and we have complained about. And I think the bottom line is, this wasn't an incident that was anti-Springbok or anti-All Black or giving one. This was just pure error. I think the BONGI'S try shouldn't have been allowed, but I think there's other incidents in the game that would have made a difference as well. To be honest, the TMO was rather anonymous on the day and really didn't do either team justice. If you look at the way Sam Cane hit Sia, and that was just deemed a penalty, it wasn't deemed anything more than that. And Sia's got a fractured cheekbone.
I'm not a medical doctor, and I apparently explained Evan's injury not great on Tuesday, but I think it's a fracture. It's something you're going to look into. That's what no, the doctor will have to look at it. He doesn't normally. It doesn't look better. It looks a bit better.
Now, if a fractured cheekbone isn't deemed serious enough, then what are we doing in World Rugby? And that's the problem I have the whole time with World Rugby, is not that so much that they're not trying to protect the players, but then in one game we'll see one TMO, send a player for a 6-week ban like Jasper Visser, a 6-match ban, and then the next game somebody will do something similar and nothing will happen, as happened with Kobus Reinach and Andrew Kellaway. Then we see one player getting a yellow card for a head high. We see Ethan Blackadder getting nothing for his upward tackle, and because he was passive apparently, and we've addressed these in previous videos, and now we see this one and Sam Cane gets away with it. But okay, let's leave that one for the moment. I'll do a separate video on that one. Then we look at the rest of the game. There was a number of incidents which I think the Springboks fans can complain about. If you look at it once, you can look at the 6 penalties in the first half, 5 of them in the 22-meter area, a warning to the All Blacks, and no card. So eventually that card came late in the second game, and it changed the momentum of the game when Ofa to Fasa. Eventually that card came late in the second half, and it changed the momentum of the game when the All Blacks lost a player. So there you wonder yourself, would the game have the same complexion in the first half? But you roll with the punches. So that, there to me, the All Blacks kept on giving away penalties in their 22. Springboks weren't clinical enough. They made a lot of mistakes and a lot of that. So the reason for being behind at halftime was their own fault. I thought the All Blacks played exceptionally well. It was an epic test match. But they could have easily got a yellow card in the first game. Then their first try was a perfect example of double banking. It shouldn't have been allowed. The TMO should have picked it up. The referee should have picked it up. That's something that's been ref pretty well over the last while. But don't take my word for it. Here's a video by one of the guys I follow on Twitter, analyst Gus. Gus, he's basically a rugby analyst, and he puts it quite perfectly in this video. So take a watch.
There's been a lot of confusion around the All Blacks maul tries, so I thought I'd expand on it and explain a few things. But to start, refs are human, refs make mistakes. The ref made a mistake for the Bongi and Bonambi try, so it evens itself out in the end. In short, the offence was double banking, which is when a team blocks their opponent's access to the line-out jumper, resulting in the opponent being unable to sack or compete at the maul. In this instance, Tyrell Lomax is seen blocking South Africa's access to Ardie Severe after he's collected the line-out. This means South Africa are unable to legally sack the maul and do not have access to the hinge player at the maul, meaning the All Blacks can comfortably shear off and score. This type of offence has been refed very well in recent years, and refs have been hot on it, but it was just obviously missed in this case. As I said, refs are human. These type of things happen. The Bongi and Bonambi incident was a much clearer and obvious error.
Okay, so you know what? At the end of the day, my take on Bongi's thing for all my New Zealand friends is quite simple. One, it wasn't a try. It should have been picked up by the TMO. It wasn't picked up by the TMO, and that's unfortunate. It was early in the game. The All Blacks still led after that. They got one try off turnover ball, which they moved the ball very quickly and caught the Boks out on defence. And the second one was an intercept. So, when most coaches say those are unlucky because the intercept, those are sort of, Afrikaans call them pokstreë. That's what happens. It's one of those things that you can't plan for. So they still led. They led with 10 minutes to go. And where I think All Black fans should rather be concentrating on is, why is this the third time in the last 20 minutes that the All Blacks haven't scored any points in a test in this season? Why is it also that they couldn't maintain a 10-point lead against their old foes? In the past, All Black teams would have put other teams away then. But the fact that they didn't maintain that lead and allowed the Boks back in, won them the test match. To me, the Bongi thing was unfortunate. It should be addressed at World Rugby level. It shouldn't have happened, but it didn't make a difference in the game to me. At the end of the day, if you want to go nitpick about every little thing, there are a number of things the Boks could probably nitpick about as well. And to be very honest, both sides have got a history of complaining about officials, and this really shouldn't really be a discussion. It was an epic test. Let's move on. We go to the second test. And I think I'm going to leave it with what John Kerwin said. Not often I'd sort of quote John Kerwin, but here's what he said on Twitter afterwards about the game, and I agree with him.
Hey everybody, hello my South African friends. Congratulations on your win. You're probably wondering why I wasn't on the breakdown. I'm actually in Venice getting a pair of these beautiful reading glasses so that the TMO might wear them next week. However, congratulations. What a great test match, eh? I just love when South Africa play New Zealand. I thought New Zealand were outstanding at times for 50 minutes. But the great thing about South Africa is, their experience. They know how to win. They know how to go to things like their maul when they win. I thought the inexperienced of this side, the All Black side at the next level, kicking game, last 20 minutes and a few errors was the difference, but can't wait for next week. Don't know if my South African friends know this New Zealand saying, next try wins. It's how we grow up. You can win with the last try. So what I'm saying is that if we win next week, we win. Look at that.
So that's my take, guys. Next try wins. That's all that matters. Forget about bleating about every decision. Let's move on. Saturday in Cape Town is going to be epic. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. Cheers.